A very good evening, Team Zimbabwe. Masquera say, Masquera say, Masquera say. So, there is a sensitive story which I have received from one of my sources, and this source is one of trusted sources which we have in the nation of Zimbabwe. Particularly, that woman is a prophet, so she gets some sensitive stories, and she's always right. So we need to talk about what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe right now. There are three groupings of people who are fighting for the control of government. And we need to talk more about these three groupings and how they are formulated, and what is their aim, who are they working with, according to this prophetess. So she said, we have a ZANU-PF faction, which is led by Mdarapfe. And that is a very powerful and well-oiled, well-resourced faction, which is in control at this moment in time. That ZANU-PF is actually not working with other groupings. It is working with certain key elements within the government, the arms of government. There are certain elements, very powerful cartels involved, and this one does not involve much of political players. It involves much of cartels and crooks around the institutions. Then we have what is called ZANU-PF Renewal, the cabal of ZANU-PF Renewal. This one is accused of working with CCC Maruva and G40 elements linked to Professor Jonathan Moore. So there was speculation renewal. That is the reason why he cannot come back in promise, reason why they are so hard with one of the prominent former Triple C leader within Harare. That prominent man has been tipped to be the vice president representing the Mashonaland region and also representing the Marua Cabal. So on the G40 professor, we have one VP there, and on the Marua Cabal, we have one VP there. We have the ZANU-PF renewal leader leading the government. That is the setup which they have. But they have some elements also within the state apparatus. They have some powerful elements within, which are also feared by the fair faction. And when they does things, they are not questioned. When they have some information of the fair faction, which can destroy the fair faction if the fight intensifies prematurely. So they are untouchables. They need to be dealt with one by one and carefully. That is according to the fair faction. So the other grouping is the group of President Nelson Chamisa, which is the original Triple C. So this grouping, it is backed by the power makers. It is composed of very powerful people with a vision, building a much more equal Zimbabwe, a prosperous Zimbabwe for all. These are people who are dreaming for the Singapore of Africa here in Zimbabwe. So according to this person, there is a proposal from another element of G40, which is G40 Tyson. There's a proposal which was placed, but not to Chamisa to Chamisa people. It was placed to the power makers, to the representatives of the power makers. It was placed there to say, can we work together on these modalities? The arrangement in this group is different to other arrangements because there are no shared positions so far. The only person who is who they want to front is Nelson Chamisa, who will won the elections of 2023. And according to the power makers, they have enough evidence to suggest that Nelson Chamisa won that election. So this is what this lady said. So if you take a look on that proposal, she denied to, or she refused to give me more details on whether Chamisa, the power makers, and the G40 Tyson are in agreement. She said she cannot disclose more about that, but only what is there is a proposal for them to work together. And then she said something is happening within the Fair faction. They're actually considering having Nelson Chamisa. They're preferring having Nelson Chamisa as the next president than the other faction of ZANU-PF Renewal. So they are saying if ZANU Renewal takes over, then we are in trouble. So if you take a look on the infightings which are happening within ZANU-PF, now the divisions are now known. These are part of the Renewal and the Fair. There are clashes which are happening several times. So you do see that she says they are people. So they're saying that Shavangu is literally begged by the ZANU Renewal. That is what this woman has said. And I do not know, Team Zimbabwe, what your thoughts regarding that. This is the piece of information which I got. According to this person, she said the diasporans who are linked to the Marua Cabal, the majority of them were being sponsored all this while to actually be involved in compromise activities, disinformation activities, misinformation activities, and they have been successful on doing that because they were highly trusted. And one of the key players within this section has been going around across the globe trying to actually lobby for support because he is believed to have received enough recognition from the world leaders. That is what she said. But there are some hurdles, there are some difficulties they are facing because the diplomats which are being met all around, they want the face of Nelson Chamisa to actually appear in everything else. That is the reason why the other group is continuously saying, we are working with Nelson Chamisa, we support Nelson Chamisa, he is still our president. That is the reason why they are refusing to let Nelson Chamisa go. So with now Nelson Chamisa making a court challenge to actually say, I want my face to be removed from your grouping, this is now giving this group hard times. And the only way is to make sure that they try to force unity with Nelson Chamisa. So both factions, the Fair faction is now looking forward to work with Nelson Chamisa, and the Renewal faction is trying to work with Nelson Chamisa, but Nelson Chamisa is rejected to work with any of those factions because they do not represent the aspirations of the nation. This is what this lady said to me. So it was a very long phone call, and I decided to say, okay, this is a prophecy which has been delivered. She says she has heard about this, and she wanted it shared. So those are very Team Zimbabwe. I do not know what you think, how you view it, how you see it. Does it make sense? That is a very important question. But this is something interesting happening behind the scenes. The major question is, does it make sense? Or which faction or which grouping is going to win at last? So ameno guys kuti makazvitarisa muri kuzviona sei, but interesting moments ahead. We will see the confirmation kuti chokwadi ndechipi.